I think the next focus is to make sure that at least in the city, we need to light up Rivers State as well. It's not happening automatically because, obviously, this is a strategic plan, and things will, understandably take some time. But there is a plan to make sure that everywhere, which is why this suggestion is important, everywhere is lit up. Government is now making sure that there is investment in social infrastructure.
Is there a timeline for that?
The government has been in office for barely 8 months. And so what we are trying to do is to make sure that we do not put timelines on development. What we are trying to do is to make sure, because even if you say we are going to light up Port Harcourt, Rivers State is a vast place. And so what we are trying to do is to make sure that we do this in a systematic fashion. I cannot now say it is going to happen in March, it's going to happen, but it's an ongoing effort. Just like the reconstruction of roads. Some of them were abandoned, but now are being fixed.
Still on security, but does touch a bit of on politics. And when it has to do with security matters and tainted with a bit of politics, you have to get people like you to comment on it, and it has to do with Senator Magnus Abe's senatorial district and his office that was also touched just recently. What is the state doing to bring into book those who carried out that dastardly act?
What happened, was that the home of a so-called ex-militant was invaded by the military. How was the house invaded? I do not have the details. Constitutionally, you can't invade a house except you have a search warrant and all of that. Or at least the chief security officer of the state, the executive governor, needs to be informed. In this particular instance, the governor has been categorical in saying that while I support every effort to fight crime and criminality in Rivers State, if you're going to invade the house of any individual who is resident in Rivers State, I should know. In this particular instance, the governor was categorical in his public statement to say that I wasn't informed. Now, after the incident, the governor went there physically to see the place, and he was able to confirm that in the course of the raid, several people were killed. He went to the morgue and he saw corpses. And people, who the families of these individuals that were killed confirmed that those individuals lost their lives in the course of these attacks. I think that investigations are still underway, but the governor's emphasis has been very clear. We want to support every effort to curtail crime and to bring criminals to face justice. But you see, at the same time, you don't want to create a climate of siege. You don't want to create a great deal of collateral damage simply because you want to apprehend a certain individual. So there's a delicate balance that has to be struck between fighting crime and creating this kind of unfortunate situation where innocent lives are lost.
Still talking a little bit about politics too and security, that there are several reports everywhere. In fact, some of the headlines say, rerun, Wike asks PDP leaders to resist DSS arrest. What's that about?
Well, there has been a consistent pattern of what looks like a targeting of leaders of the PDP in Rivers State. As I said, earlier, there has been these raids, going on, and there has been this pattern, of raids. For instance, a chieftain of the PDP, a very well-respected elder of the party, Prince Mayan, who these days, in fact, isn't even based in Rivers State. He stays more and more in Abuja. I received a call from him as Commissioner for Information around 4:30 a.m. Last week or so. It's reporting to me that his house in Eche, his country home, was being raided, by the security forces. And they raided the place, ransacked, tore down the POP ceilings, and they didn't find anything. They didn't find anything. Not a single incriminating material was found, and the place was raided. And so there has
Any
been.
idea of who carried out such raid?
They were raided by the military, combined team. So the point is, when you have this kind of consistent, extrajudicial raids, conducted in an obviously partisan fashion, it raises very serious concerns, because you see, we have laws, and in a very political context, when we see a pattern of this kind of raids happening, it raises a great deal of concern, because these people are citizens of the country. If they are incriminated in any fashion, arrest them, prosecute them. If you want to seize any of their properties, get a search warrant. There is a procedure for these things. It may appear cumbersome for security organizations, but when you have this kind of obviously partisan raids happening, we get very worried, because constitutionally the military and the police, they are supposed to be insulated from the grind of everyday partisan politics, and we want them to operate within the law.
But if he,
did the governor give that, for lack of a better word, give that advice to the PDP to resist any arrest?
The important thing is, if you have a procedure for arresting people, if you have a procedure for prosecuting criminals, follow that procedure. But this kind of consistent pattern of what looks like political targeting of people from either one party or the other, we consider it unconstitutional.
So if he gave that advice,
yes,
and the leaders of the PDP decide to follow the governor's advice, and maybe the security operatives, if it is indeed security operatives, if they decide to now enforce their authority, would the governor take responsibility?
We wouldn't expect the security forces to organize this kind of indiscriminate raids, indiscriminate arrests in the political season. If you have any specific individual, you have a case against him, follow the laid down procedures. But these apparently politically targeted raids, this kind of suspicious raids of people, we believe that the security forces need to be a lot more careful. We are running a democracy, and if you have suspicions about individuals, by all means go for them. If you have a basis, a legal basis for searching their homes, by all means follow the procedure and go for them. The governor that I know and work with every day is fully in support. In fact, in this particular political dispensation, I do not know of any particular public official that has been as supportive of the security forces as Governor Wike has been. You see, but if you want to work,
you wouldn't know, because you don't work with others.
No, but we read the
your
papers,
governor.
we know what happens everywhere.
But you just heard the Commissioner of Lagos tell us, and we also saw that live, what they've been able to get for the police and security agencies here in the state, gunboats and so many other things, and we can see results. That was why we're asking if the Onelga killing at this point, no arrests has still been made, then it's worrisome.
Arrest. There have been cases where
people can't just walk into a place where there's law and order, and that's Rivers State, because there's law and order in Rivers,
yes,
and kill people, butcher people, and go away like that. And it's weeks now, and we still haven't heard anything about an arrest.
I do not.
So if they are cultists, sorry to cut you there, if these were cultists, and we have a commissioner of police there, and we have other security agencies there, and as the chief security officer of the state, that's the governor, His Excellency, Governor Wike, by now at least there must be some form of arrest.
If you're talking about arrest, on previous incidents, I do not follow the day-to-day investigation work. But if you're talking about what happened just a few days ago, just yesterday or so, where a couple were reportedly beheaded. You know, I haven't spoken. I'm here. I haven't spoken with the police commissioner yet. You see, but the bottom line is the governor has consistently supported the security forces. Are they on top of the situation? Yes, they are. But is there still criminal activity going on? Yes. You see, as I said, this is a very complex situation. It's not peculiar to Rivers State, and that's not to excuse what is happening in Rivers State. But this is something
I know this may
constantly
not be
working
for
at.
you. It may be for the police, because how do they put it? To whom more is given, more is expected. We've seen what the police are doing in Lagos. We've seen what anyone would do. It's more or less like I'm your student, and you expect when you give me, you impart knowledge onto me. You want to see results. Aren't you worried that with all what your state has spent in support of the police, they seem to be slow on this?
Well, I wouldn't indict the police, because, you know, every day they put their lives on the line. Every day they are out there. They are the ones who are in constant confrontation with the criminals. So I wouldn't judge them too harshly. But I understand, you know, talking all the day, interfacing all every time with the police, that they are doing their best. Is the best enough? As I keep saying, this is not a situation you can romanticize, but to say, look, once we do this, everything is going to end. This is criminality we are talking about, and so you need to constantly recalibrate your strategy, constantly rebuild the alliances with civil society to make sure that you are on top of the situation. There is no single magic bullet that is going to solve all these problems overnight.
In that interface, do they have information on who are those who attacked Senator Magnus Abe's office?
No, I don't have details about that. My broad understanding, following the investigation so far, were that you know people generally were not happy with what they considered to be an invasion of the community, because you see, if you historicize the relationship between the Ogoni community and the military, as you know, it's a very sensitive one, and the Ogonis are very sophisticated, very enlightened people. They believe that you can conduct your business, you know, without killing everyone, without burning down whole communities. They consider this, in fact, as a crime against the community itself. And so what the governor has come out to say very categorically and, you know, on camera is that, look, I was not specifically informed about this particular incident. There are protocols, there are security and constitutional procedures if you want to apprehend a suspect. But to bulldoze his house, I don't know this fellow personally, you know, but to bulldoze, to bring bulldozers and flatten his house, kill all these people, and all of these people are confirming, relatives, you know, confirming that these people were actually killed in the course of this so-called military operation is something that is very disturbing indeed, and the governor has condemned it. He continues to support the security forces. He continues to fund their activities. But his point of departure has been that, look, if you want to do this, follow the procedure, and more importantly, as the chief security officer of the state, let me know.
All right, Dr. Austin Tam-George, Commissioner for Information in Rivers State, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we will be back. We have another perspective coming up in a moment. Don't go away.